Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of the GSD show where we help fitness studios and gyms grow and be more successful and share strategies with you on how to do so. Typically I'm your host, but like we've been doing recently, I've been interviewed on more and more podcasts lately in the fitness business world. And I was just interviewed by Ben from the Strong Coach podcast. Thought it was another really good interview. We again discussed stuff I haven't really discussed on this show. So I asked if he'd be okay with me uploading it to our show, and he said yes. What we discussed were the 3 steps to go from fitness enthusiast to fitness entrepreneur. And we talked about the 3 types of fitness entrepreneurs, why you need to know your numbers and which numbers, and why you shouldn't go at business alone. And it was an awesome interview. Ben did a good job of navigating it, and so now it's here for you.
If you own a gym or you need a gym, this is your guy.
Hi, I'm Mike Arce, and I've spent most of my career in the fitness industry and helping those in it succeed. And after helping over 2,000 studios and 50 different franchises within the industry, I've learned a lot about what it takes to be successful. Here, I'll teach your studio how to advertise, how to sell, retain more members, increase profits, and become an overall better business owner in the space. And I share it all with you here. Welcome to the GSD Show.
Welcome to the Strong Coach podcast. My name is Ben Joy Walker, and my guest today is the founder and CEO of Loud Rumor, the host of the GSD Show, the GOAT Show, and a top fitness business conference, GSD Con, Mike Arce. Welcome to the show, Mike.
Thanks, man. How are you doing?
Oh, doing great. I'm out here in Montana, living the unreasonable dream. It's good stuff.
Love it.
I was reading your bio to my buddy going out here with, and he was like, "What does this guy host? 5 podcasts? He's an animal." And then we listened to your podcast, and we were like, "Yo, he is."
Well, I've actually hosted 4. So you know MindBody, the CRM MindBody.
Yeah.
So I was a host of their podcasts, and then obviously the GSD show here, and then the GOAT show, and then during COVID, I started a COVID podcast as well to help gym owners. We did 88 episodes in 3 weeks to help people with everything that had to be done. So we interviewed legal experts, finance experts, health experts, studio owners that were still doing well, switching to virtual. And we helped, honestly, we had 100%, none of our gyms or studios closed down, 100%. Everyone's open, everyone's going.
Right on. Well, your brain is the brain to pick then.
I hope we deliver value, yeah. Appreciate it.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. As I was listening to your show, one of the things I really liked about it was how practical it is. Like, do this, do this, do this. So what I wanted to talk to you about is because a lot of the coaches that follow us, they're the kind of coaches that are like, they get into it because they love fitness and they think that's all they need, and then they realize, oh, I have to be a business owner too.
Yeah.
And that's what gets them spinning their wheels, because they don't know what they don't know. Right. So what I'm curious about is if someone comes to you who's in that situation, what are the first few things you tell them?
Well, you don't really tell them because they don't know they're that. So a lot of people that are fitness enthusiasts and started a business, they don't know that they don't have the business knowledge. They think they do. They're unaware of it. And in most cases, sometimes you get people that know that they don't know, but in a lot of cases, they're like, yeah, I get it. It works. I just need my employees to be better. I need leads to be better. I need the gyms around me to not keep opening up because it's so saturated. I need people to stop charging less. I need everything around me to be better so that you guys can see how good I am, basically is what they're saying, but they don't know they're saying it, right? So the way I look at it, there's 3 types of business owners in this industry, and you could probably fill it in other small businesses, but let's talk fitness right now. There's the guy you just said, the fitness guy that started a business. There's the business guy that started a fitness business, right? So this guy might own a few other things. He's got a mortgage company, he's got a massage envy, he's got a few things, and he goes, you know what, I'll go ahead and get a couple cycle bars too, right? So he got a fitness business. And then there's a third guy, and this guy is the first guy that wants to be the second guy. He's the guy that's a fitness enthusiast. He said, you know what, I'm going to start a business, but I'm going to do it right, and I really want to dedicate every day. I want to dedicate time to learn, whether it's reading, podcasts, getting coaches, getting mentors. I'm going to become a business person. Because the truth is, once you start a business, you're no longer that thing anymore. You're not a fitness professional. You are now a business owner that happens to offer the services of fitness. And that's it. So you've got to think like a business owner. And that's why these sharks and Marcus Lemonis and all these guys, they're able to jump into businesses they have no experience in and crush it, because that one thing is what the other guy that they're investing in knows, that one piece. What they bring is all the pillars that if you don't have these things, it doesn't matter how much you love fitness, you're going to crumble. And I think a lot of people are realizing that, especially right now.
Oh yeah, for sure. And what comes up when you say all that is, and we talk about this a lot in the program, is identity. Like, what do you identify as, and then what are the actions that follow along with that identity? And
Right.
a lot of people are still focused on I love fitness, working out is all I want to do, identity.
Yeah.
And they don't even know that there's this other business person identity. So what do you do to bridge the gap between those two?
Well, you got to get them to like it. So people aren't good at people don't like what they're not good at, and you're not good at what you don't train in. So the first step is getting them to like it. You take my kid when my kid was 5 years old, 6 years old. I put him, in basketball, and the kid didn't want to move, right? As soon as we were in the game, he was a kid that just stood there and the ball would go by. He just didn't have fun. And his mother was like, Mike, you got it. He doesn't like it. He doesn't like it. Don't make him do it. He doesn't like it. I go, no, he doesn't know what he likes right now. He's so young. He's new to the game. What he doesn't like is not being good at it and it not working. And he's insecure and he doesn't want to move because he feels like if he moves, he'll mess up. And so he's just staying put. Once we get him to be good at it, he'll like it. And at that point, once he's good, if he doesn't, we'll stop. So we practice. I put that extra time into him. And what happened was, of course, he starts being good. He dribbles. He makes a shot in the game. Everyone cheers. Now he wants the ball again. First time he made one shot in a game, he made 6 shots in a game, right? And now he loved it. He was playing in 3 leagues at once. And so the same thing goes with anything, in business in particular. Most people don't like the business side of things because they don't like it. They don't like looking at a financial statement because they don't know how to look at a financial statement. They don't like being salesy because they don't know how to sell. They don't like marketing and getting behind the computer on Facebook and doing all because they don't know how to do it. And so if you don't know how to do these things, then you avoid doing it. People naturally are good at avoiding things they don't want to do. But if you can just take baby steps and get someone to be good at something, well, then at that point, they get addicted. And we've taken people, my executive assistant here, for instance, 4 years ago when she started, I said, look, I need you to go through sales training. Because in my eyes, she's representing me. And you need to know how to sell decently well because you're representing me. And she was like, I don't want to sell. I don't want to go through training. That's not me. That's not what I signed up for, all that stuff. So anyway, I got her in it anyway. And now she's my sales manager. She's literally leading a sales meeting right now with 8 of our sales reps. And how did that happen? How did somebody go from I hate sales, I don't want to do sales, it's not my thing, it's not my passion, to Mike, I want to lead your sales team? And now she's literally teaching them because she got good at it, and she got good at it because she trained in it. So first step is, look, let's get you training. Let's show you how you can get good at this one thing. You get good at it, you either make money or retain members, whatever it is we worked on, and then from there, now I just got you in a flow of addiction. I just want to learn another thing. I just want to keep learning. And now we got people that go through all of our training several times because they know training's not something you did, it's something you do. So they keep looping through.
Funny how that sounds exactly like someone who shows up to the gym for the first time.
It is. It's all relative. Piano, gym, basketball, science, doesn't matter. You want to like something, you get good at it. You want to get at it, you train in it. That's it. It's everything.
So let's say you've got someone who's just realized, I have to be a business person first. I need to, that's an identity that I need to hold. What's the biggest rock for them to move first?
Well, first is knowing their numbers. So that's like, you have to look at your business like a business, not like a hobby that somehow just generates some money every once in a while. So you should really know your numbers. What is the business overall bringing in each month? And what's making that income? How much of it is monthly recurring membership? And what's the average person paying each month on that? How much of it is ancillary sales? And what's the average member paying on that? How many are you making? So all of this stuff, what comes in and how's it coming in? And then expenses, what's coming out? Your cost of goods sold, your operating expenses, what's the difference between the two? And knowing what those are. And then what's the bottom, the part that everyone cares about, the profit, and how much is that? Because once you measure something, you can't help but get better at it because you do, and that's just the way we are. Once you start, imagine anybody working out. How about this? If I'm working out with you, you never work out. If I start tracking your workouts and I write down every workout you do and I show you what it is, naturally you're going to want to do a little more the next day. You're not going to say, okay, so that's what I do, so I'll do a little less tomorrow maybe. No, if you did 100 pounds, 15 reps, you're going to want to see if you can do 110 pounds or maybe 100 pounds at 20 reps. That's just the way we are. And same thing goes. You know your numbers, you know your revenue. How can we increase ancillary sales? How can we increase our monthly recurring revenue or our average member value? How can we decrease costs? How can we increase profits? And so that's first step, is understand what needs to be fixed, and then from there fix it. If your top line's low, you got to get better at sales. If your ops or your cogs are slow, then you got to get better at operating, right? You got to become better at efficiency, finance, retention, right? There could be some problems there. So you got to know what your business actually looks like in math, and then from there you dissect and you begin working on things. It's like a fitness person, right? First is, hey, where are you at? What's your body fat? What are your measurements? What's your weight? What's your goal? Where are you at today? Like, let's get the numbers out. And now where do you want to be? And okay, mathematically, you want to get here by here, and you want to get from here to here by this time. So what does that mean we need to do by quarter, by month, by week, and by day in order to be the trajectory to be us getting there? It's the same thing. It's a business. It's not fitness, but it's the same play.
And you took that analogy right out of my head. I was just thinking about that one. And it's interesting too, because there's so many coaches who, like, you throw any sort of financial statement in front of them and they get queasy. But the thing is, their mind is already in the place of understanding how a system works. Mm-hmm. And that's something that I realized when I first started understanding business was it's an algorithm. You plug in the stuff, and as long as you plug in the right things in the right spot, it all works.
Fitness people,
way simpler than most people think.
Yeah, fitness people have an advantage to learning that part of it more than a dentist or more than a pediatrician or anybody else, because it's not the same way. Like a pediatrician, you see a kid come in, you check them, they go, right? But with fitness, it's like, okay, Joe comes in, here's Joe's goal, here's where he's at, here's the math, and you're responsible for getting him there. And so the great thing is our brain's already wired. It's like getting somebody that already plays the piano to learn the guitar. Your brain's already wired to understand the general idea of how to get there. Now we just need to show you how to switch the instrument. That's all it is.
And the key is the simplicity. And so sometimes I look at it as like a deadlift. A deadlift is really simple, but 100-pound deadlift and 1,000-pound deadlift, mm-hmm. It's still simple, but sometimes like you got to really put in that grind to get it up there.
Well, so now the difference between 100-pound deadlift and 1,000-pound deadlift is the same difference between a $100,000 a year business and $1 million business. So with a deadlift at 100 pounds, you're basically just like, cool, what little tweaks can we make to see if we can go from 100 to 120? That's all it is. What tweaks can we make? With 1,000 pounds, you're like, how do we do this perfectly so we don't hurt ourselves? How do we protect ourselves, right? Because we can get hurt at 1,000 pounds, right? Yeah? So you're like, okay, we're not thinking, how do I tweak it to get to 1,200? You're thinking, how do I do perfect form every inch of the way of this movement so that I don't hurt myself? And now the same thing goes with a business. $100,000 business, you're thinking, cool, how can we get to 120? But $1 million business, now you're thinking, okay, we've got a lot of employees. How do we protect ourselves? Are we onboarding people the right way? Have we done sexual harassment? Do we have the right legal people and staff? Do we have the right contracts in place? Could we get sued? Or is everything for our employee offer letters, are those all set up? So now you're more in protection mode and making sure that every little movement is done properly. You're still looking to grow, just like the 1,000-pound deadlift guy still wants to get to 1,200, but you're growing also cautiously, making sure you don't get hurt. And so those are the difference. I see parallels there too.
Yeah, if you just try and grip it and rip it with your business, you're going to have a bad time.
Yeah, absolutely.
When one of the things you mentioned about the type 3 business, is that they're seeking coaches, they're seeking mentors. And I know that I'm sure you've come across people who have the I have to do it myself in order to earn it stories. So what are some of the pitfalls that people on this path encounter when they don't seek out outside guidance?
Um, you're basically going through the journey yourself, which is admirable in a way. I think it's unintelligent because you don't have to do it. But you're basically saying, I'm going to make all the mistakes that somebody else already made or knows how to avoid on my own, and then I'll learn what they learned. Or you can learn what they learned now and not make those mistakes. Because here's the way you look at it. Like, you've learned stuff along the way, right? No matter what. Over the last 3 years, you've learned what not to do and you learned what to do. And I bet you if I put you in a time machine 3 years from now, 3 years ago, and I say, okay, go ahead and give yourself advice, you'd probably have a lot to tell that person. And you go back in your time machine and this person has a whole different trajectory. They make a lot less mistakes. It costs them a lot less money and time and stress and all that. So if that's the case, if we can go back and tell ourselves that, we know that when you hire a coach, you're essentially hiring someone from the future. That's all you're doing. You're hiring somebody that just understands the things you're about to deal with, when you're about to deal with them, how you're probably going to handle them and how you should handle them, so that you can see those things and you can anticipate. The reason veterans in sports can play with rookies that have twice the energy, twice the stamina, twice the athleticism, the reason they can still play with those guys is because one thing that the vets got really good at over time is anticipation. They can anticipate plays. And when you can anticipate, you don't have to be as fast because you saw it first. So a safety in football that has better anticipation than a person with less anticipation, right? But that person has, let's say, better speed because they were able to make the decision on where to go first. Even though the other guy's faster, he's already 5-10 yards ahead. And the same thing goes with a person that really understands the business game. You really want to find somebody that can anticipate for you so you can anticipate. And so now you're able to see 5-10 yards down the road as well. And you're able to avoid these common pitfalls that inevitably everyone hits if they don't know it's coming.
I remember you on one of your episodes, the Instagram quotes that you really don't like, and one of them was about like every failure is a lesson, and you're like, no, every failure is expensive.
Yeah, I mean, you can learn from failure. I just hate when people say failure is the best teacher, because success is a really good teacher too. You know, like I mean, I think failure is a phenomenal teacher when success isn't present. But when success is there, I mean, immediately it's like, cool, this is what you do. Great, I'm going to do that. Or somebody else teaches you because they're successful. And by the way, too, I've hired actually, you know what's funny? Not one of my coaches, I've got an agency. It's probably the largest agency in the industry right now. And I have not had one coach that has had an agency. Not one. All of my coaches are experts in their respective field, whether it's sales, marketing, finance, leadership, culture, all that stuff. Because at the end of the day, what you don't want to hire is somebody that is a successful gym owner, but they're not necessarily a coach, you know, because there's a lot of people that are good players, but they're terrible coaches. They don't know how to coach someone else to do it. They think they know what to do, but they don't. That's why you see a lot of athletes like Michael Jordan, Wayne Gretzky, Magic Johnson, Isaiah Thomas, all these incredible athletes, top of the game, terrible coaches, terrible. And vice versa. You know, and I say this, by the way, because I don't want people to think you always have to go to a gym owner. You can go to people that never owned a gym but really understand money and whatever.
Yeah, that's spot on. What for you makes the difference between a great player and a great coach?
So great players are people that have just a knack for it. They do know what they're doing, but they don't exactly know how they're doing it. They have a very difficult time articulating it, and they have a very difficult time coaching anyone that doesn't have the same capabilities that they have. Like Jordan could probably coach Kobe because they were so similar, but he probably couldn't coach LeBron or Hakeem Olajuwon because they're so different. A great coach is somebody that can see the genius in each other person and is able to see all the negatives, right? All the weaknesses, all the strengths, all the opportunities, and say, okay, well, Basically, here's you, here's who you are, here's how you will succeed. Has nothing to do with me and how I'm successful. This is how you will be successful. And so I think a great coach can see the future in other people and can know exactly, like as a master would, this is what you should do. A player, they're really good and they're great at what they do, but if they're not coaching someone with their same capabilities, they're like guessing.
And that's so important to be that's like being the visionary for your client, because so much of the time, people come in and they're like, what's your goal? Oh, I want to lose 10 pounds. And like, they don't even like consciously know that there's a much deeper reason way down there. And what a coach needs to be able to do is paint this incredible picture of the future.
Right.
And go, hey, did you know about this?
And the roadmap to get there.
Yeah, exactly. It's we can go here. Do you see how cool that is? Mm-hmm. By the way, I know all the steps.
Right.
Because I've been there. That's like why you hear so much like your ideal client is you 7 years ago.
Yeah.
Because
well,
it's you being able to lead them on the journey you went on.
It's going to be so unlike sports, business is so different. Everyone in their circumstances is so uniquely different that it's going to be very, very rare for you to find somebody that's got the same circumstance that you do, or where you were 7 years ago or in the past. What you're more often going to find is you're going to find somebody that may have a couple things similar to you, but 90%, 80%, they've got their own stuff. They may not have a studio manager like you do already. They may not have the clients, the power base of clients that you may have already. They may not have the demographic. They may not have the supporting like shopping center with all the traffic coming in like you do. So I spend $300,000 a year in coaching. I personally get coached by 7 coaches, all different sections. I spend $300,000 a year. That's my budget. And I don't care if they've done what I've done. I don't care. I care if you know how to get me, and I want to see your roster. I want to know that you can get me to get to my goal, and I want to know that you can do that, and that's it. And give me a plan before we start working together. So that to me is more important. And I work with that guy over a guy that's got an agency twice as big as mine, and I haven't seen him coach anybody else.
Say your coaching budget one more time for the people in the back.
$300,000 a year.
Yes, like investing in yourself.
In this, yeah. One, and not just me actually. So I would say about 200 of that is for me. 100 of that is for some of the players on my team.
So what was your thought process the first time you made a big investment in yourself like that?
Well, I started reading, and in the book, I learned that concept that you should really go to the people that have the information that you need and be able to get it. Because a book can give you kind of like that coach, that player coach, right? The book can tell you what he did, but he can't tell you what you should do because the book doesn't know who you are. It's assuming that you are going to like this general information. But a book's never going to say, like a great book, Starts With Why by Simon Sinek, fantastic book. But that book can't say, now, Ben, you particularly should do a story like this. So for me, it's better that I go reach out to a guy like Simon Sinek and particularly go work with him. So I would say I've gotten coached by probably around 6 of the people that I read their books first. And I was like, this guy, I want to talk to him. And so I just reach out to him and I say, I want to hire you. Or I saw him speak at a conference. And I'm like, I want to hire you. And so I just pick him apart.
Yeah, go right to the source, and then that again comes back to like you were saying, it's admirable to do it all by yourself, and also not intelligent because there's everything right with receiving support for all of this, and how different is it for you in the coaching you're seeking out? Like what does that investment mean to you when you make it?
It's more expensive to not spend it.
More expensive to not spend it. That sounds like the perfect end cap for this show. I know you've got a hard out, busy man. So where can people get more information about you and all the other knowledge nuggets that you've got?
Well, for your group, I actually have a giveaway for you guys. So if you go to, anybody listening goes to membershipsalesguide.com. I just put a whole 11-step sales strategy that has been working really well for a lot of the people here. You can go to my website, loudrumor.com, and then you can also follow me on Instagram. It's Mike Arce Live. My last name's spelled A-R-C-E, so Mike Arce Live. And I'm very interactive on Instagram.
Thank you. I appreciate that gift for our people. And I got to say, y'all, if you're one of those coaches out there who are like, I don't know what to do next, check out the GSD show, because it is like rapid fire, do this, do this, do this. And it was like, that got me so stoked to interview you. I was really, really excited after listening to that show.
Yeah. You know, and one of the things too, like if anybody knows any of my clients, what they'll tell you, and you'll see it in the videos, we have tons of video case studies, they'll tell you the same thing that I ended with, which is, if I didn't invest in Loud Rumor, it would have been so much more expensive to run this business. And that's the mindset that we enjoy working with. The perfect client for us, Ben, are people that say, look, we want to be significantly better. We don't want to stay the same. We don't want to be a little better. We want to be significantly better. I'm hungry. I'm tired of, being average. I want to play at the highest level. I want to be around the highest level people. That guy is my market. The guy that's like, I kind of keep chucking away. We'll see what happens. Let's talk about it in a month or two. That's not my client. In fact, that I'll annoy them. I'm too passionate. I'm too intense. They'll hate me. I'll annoy them. But the people that are like, I want everything you've got. I will listen to whatever you tell me to do. I'll do it. I just want to be twice as successful as I am every year. That person, man, we become real good friends very quick.
Yeah, I like the people who they understand when I ask, so when today are you going to take action on that?
Yeah, well, that's what the GSD stands for.
When right now is a good time.
Yeah,
what does GSD stand for?
Get shit done.
Right on. Get shit done. Mike, thank you so much for coming on the show. I'm sure this is gonna blow some people's minds. This is great.
I appreciate it. Thanks, Ben. Thanks for watching. If you like this episode, make sure you subscribe to our podcast on iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, Google Play, or YouTube. And to watch more episodes and get exclusive links from each episode, go to gsdshow.com. Again, that's gsdshow.com.